earlier meeting went a little longer, and then, of course, we all needed a little bit of a break. So we will get started for our December 13th Town Council meeting, our public session. To get to the next page here. Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order, and we'll have our moment of silence. Does anyone have anybody they would like to lift up? I will lift up Karen Cordry. Council, I think I sent something around to everybody that she had passed away. Karen was the president of the Kensington Heights Civic Association. I think Darren, you and I have had conversations with Karen over the years. Connor, you too, probably. She was a very nice lady, extremely well-informed, and worked diligently up in her neighborhood as well in the Wheaton area. So she will be missed by that neighborhood for sure. Is there anybody else? Anne?
Thank you. I just wanted to recognize Penny Verhoff and family, having lost her son Will recently, who was a really cherished member of our community. I'd like to think of them.
Thank you. Okay. All right. If there isn't anyone else, if we could just bow our heads for a moment. Okay, thank you very much. Council, I think everybody received the minutes earlier today, for our November 8th meeting, as well as for our special town council meeting on the 20th. I know we got it just today. I hope everybody had a chance to look it over. I didn't see any emails with edits, and I didn't have any. Are there any edits that anyone wishes to share? Nate? Oh, can somebody unmute Nate?
Thank you, Alex. I did not receive them. I think this is an issue that's been coming up recently on certain lists. They just didn't come to me. So
yeah,
this happened, I think, last time too.
Yeah, we're having trouble with the mayor.council for some reason. I know we've tested a couple of times, don't always get responses, maybe because you don't get it. But we can hold off approving of the minutes until next month. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I just wanted to flag that.
Okay.
The issue, so.
Okay. Matt, do you see a problem with just holding off on approving them until next month?
No, not at all. Councilmember Engel, did you receive you got the agenda documents, right?
Yep, I got all
Okay,
of
so
that.
it's not okay. All right, we'll check everything, and then it's fine. We can hold off to the January meeting. So
okay.
Okay. Apologies. I wish there was something I could do.
That's all right. Okay, so we will go ahead and move down to the mayor and town council. Do you want to do number 1, Connor? For the expedited bill?
Oh, sure. So this was a request that came in to do an expedited bill support with Montgomery County. We were working with Councilmember Kate Stewart, who was setting it up. I believe it goes to Andrew Friedson. But in our attempts to help the county purchase the apartments that were formerly owned by the Church of Latter-day Saints, there was a, for lack of a better term, loophole in the law that allowed the county not to have the right of last refusal or right of first refusal to buy the property because of the entities that were involved in it, one being a religious institution. Had that loophole not been there, we believe the county would have been able to acquire it. That was their intent, which would have helped to meet our desire for maintaining it as affordable housing. It would have been, the county would have managed it through its affordable housing program. So since the county lost out on the opportunity to purchase that, what we asked Kate Stewart to do was to go back with her county colleagues and close that loophole. And so this is an expedited bill that would do just that. It would change the language of that program such that there would be no longer a loophole for religious institutions. And so the county would be restored its ability to have the right of first refusal to buy rental housing within the county for the purposes of affordable housing.
Yeah, and just to, Anne can step in here as well, but just to clarify that we had hoped to have the property to create a land trust, so there would be a ownership opportunity. I think that was the model that we were hoping that the county would take. There was no guarantee of that, but I think they would have followed up and done that. And the beauty of the project was the fact that A, the apartments had already been renovated, and B, that it was empty. So there you wouldn't have the conflict of people who did not want to buy, yet, could remain in the apartments as renters. So it was a really opportunity missed. And so do you know if that bill got passed? I didn't do we know
I
that?
haven't I haven't
seen
seen it
the
come up
update
yet on
on
the
that.
agenda yet.
Okay.
So
All right. Well,
now,
thank you.
that being said, we welcome everybody who is moving into those apartments. So they were purchased by a Montgomery County real estate firm. They have been put out as at-market rentals. That's also a benefit to the town to have additional residents, market rate apartments, ones that have not been for the better part of probably several decades available is great. But the county missed out on an opportunity to add a great building and number of ready to go units into their affordable housing program. That's the one miss on this one.
Yeah. Okay. Council, any thoughts on that? Additional thoughts you want to share? No? Okay. Anyone in the audience have a question regarding that? Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and move on with council reports. Nate, do you want to start? Oh, sorry, Joe. Joe, I see your hand up. You might have to unmute him.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was unable to be unmuted there for a while. On that that property you're just discussing, it was my recollection, and it's a vague recollection, but I didn't think that the county administrator was terribly enthusiastic about that project, and that may have been also a stumbling block. Is that recollection of mine more or less accurate? Because I do remember some talk about this at the time. It's been several months now, of course.
I think what they were more interested in was they were told by the law firm from the Mormon church or the LDS church that they were not fall under that the bill was, it didn't affect them, and they just took their opinion from their county attorneys, and they didn't want to fight it. So they just walked away. He's muted again. Everybody's
Sorry.
muted.
Yeah.
We're having
Sorry,
problems
everybody.
with the mute thing.
If anybody needs to speak, just use the raise hand feature. We can unmute you. It's also not just you all. The only people who are in as meeting administrators can unmute people, but several of the other council members are in the same boat. Joe,
Okay,
did you have additional comments?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. I kind of thought that Aldrich was not on board, and I think that was a stumbling block. So,
my only two comments, Joe, would be I don't know that I would categorize it that way. The county executive, his point people within the affordable housing program met on site with the mayor and council members. They walked through all of the entire property. They went through a number of the apartments. We were engaged with them at multiple times through the process. It just had hit this roadblock of the attorneys pointing out the fact that there was a loophole. And at that point, to what you acknowledged, in what the mayor said, the county executive realized that they could not win on it, which is why after that property transacted, we engaged with the county council to say, let's not let that happen again. And that's why the support that we put to Bill 3823 was to close that loophole.
Yeah, I would agree. When we did the site tour and the county executive was there as well as other folks, he seemed very intrigued by the idea of the community land trust and an ownership opportunity being advanced in the county. It just didn't proceed for the reasons that Mayor Tracy and Connor just shared.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Nate.
I was just getting ready for my updates.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Nate, go ahead and give your updates, please.
Matt, would you like me to give the update on the meeting with MTA, or were you going to do that?
Since we have not met with them yet, why don't you just give an update from the SHA, MTA, and
Okay, I'll do it real quick. So Matt, Connor, Tracy, and I, we met with, and Alex with MDOT, the state MTA, the Transportation Administration. Delegate Solomon's office had organized the meeting because of some concerns that have been raised by residents, but also they've come up in our pedestrian and bicycling access and safety working group. We have a work stream on how we can improve safety of that crossing of the CSX Mark Station crossing. So we met with several of the staff, and it was really a really good meeting where we kind of hashed out some potential short-term solutions, including signage, fixing the materials, and investigating how we can get potentially more permanent material put in, and even longer term solutions like improving the overall crossing infrastructure. So I think the next step was to do a site visit with them and just to kind of just think what we can implement very quickly to make those safety improvements. My other update, Anne, do you want me to tell everyone about the Sustainable Kensington meeting we had yesterday? Okay. So Anne and I met with Sarah Kogel-Smucker, who is the relatively new county climate change director, who is tasked with helping to implement the climate change action plan for the county. And one of her main roles actually is to do what we've been asking the county about, is helping to give us ideas for how we can help implement and coordinating across different implementing partners and municipalities. So we met with her yesterday just to introduce ourselves and to ask how we can better collaborate with her. So 2 ideas coming out of that is that she'll meet with me and Anne, and possibly the Sustainable Kensington Committee to go over our priorities for the town, for sustainability goals and how they intersect with the climate goals for the county. And then we were proposing that from there, or maybe in parallel, that she briefs the Montgomery chapter of MML to see, how other municipalities can engage with her. So we were going to seek your advice, Tracy, I guess, on how we should and Darren, since you're in the leadership there, for how we best approach MML. If you want us to just email them and reach out directly, or do you want it to come through you? And was there anything else to add on that? Or Matt, on the other issue I updated on, and I know you're muted. You can't get off mute probably.
So are you asking that you want to just bring this up at a chapter meeting, or do you want to?
I think that would be the idea, right? That we would either bring it up, that she briefs them and present on some of the actions that are of the highest priority from her perspective. I mean, there's 80 plus actions in the plan, and she implied that there were, probably she could winnow that down to 10 to 15 priority actions that would have the most bang for their buck, where she thought we could collaborate.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea was a briefing, but then also to just open up communication and coordination between the municipality and county, because it's not now that she's in this position, it seems like we should be taking advantage of that.
Okay. I mean, we can get in touch with Monique. I'm looking at the calendar, which I was going to forward out to you all. Because we have, in January, we have Chief Jones, and then in February, we would be at the county council, the county executive. In March, we have the county council. And then in April, we have the MCP, Bill Tompkins, President and CEO of Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. So I'm not sure how that would fit in. It's possible maybe we could ask to set up a meeting for people that are interested rather than doing it at an MML chapter meeting, which might be better.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, similar to what, Irene's been doing regarding another issue, a topic that Connor will just bring up. So, we could start something like that. I don't see that as an issue. But we'd have to really make it an opportunity that people are going to want to participate in, so to make it exciting for them. Okay, good. All right, well, after the holidays, let's work on that and getting something scheduled then. Yeah, I just
Sounds
don't
good.
see the availability of actually doing it at a chapter meeting. And I'm not sure you'd get the right people there anyway. I think you want to make sure that the people that come are the ones that are really interested in this topic. Okay. Anything else, Nate?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Anne?
Just to follow up on what Nate shared, the reason that meeting came about is because we also met with Paul Ellis from Councilmember Kate Stewart's office, just to update him on Sustainable Kensington's plans so that we could identify ways to coordinate and collaborate, and he helped make that introduction. So that's part of the work that we're doing now as we get ready to enter the next phase of work of Sustainable Kensington, is just identifying who partners and collaborators could be as we start to tackle those longer term action items. I also just wanted to thank town staff for all the support we've had in the last month with all of our wonderful community events. And it's been great to see neighbors coming out. Light Up K-Town the rain stopped, and a lot of people did go shopping on Howard Avenue afterwards. And that was really nice to see. And I know that we can't have any of those events without the support of our crew and our staff. So thank you to everyone for helping to make all that possible. That's all I've got tonight.
Thank you, Anne. Okay, Darren?
The only thing I'll mention briefly is that we are overdue for a mobility and traffic committee meeting, and we just received this past week something we've been waiting for as far as Connecticut Avenue improvements, the development of improvements there. So we're going to do that in the next, hopefully month or so.
Okay. So hopefully in January, you think? Yep. Okay. All right. Good. All right. That's you too, Nate.
We'll have some traffic data to evaluate for the committee. So as well in January.
Speaking of traffic, when do you think that the speed limit thing will move from the mayor office to the street?
When I have time to read the directions.
Okay. Do we need to get a 17-year-old that knows how to
probably
program?
No, it's on your desk, and it's been on your desk for a month.
It's okay.
But the next couple of weeks should slow up a little bit, and we should have it in soon. So
no, it's no problem, but it'll be great when it is in. That was a big success in order to get state highway to agree to do it. So that was great. Okay, Connor?
3 quick items. One, just to acknowledge and congratulate on the county council that our former district county council member, Andrew Friedson, was just elected as president of the council for this going session. And our current District 4 council member, Kate Stewart, has been elected as vice president. So congratulations to both of them. Well deserved. And it's great to have, 2 people who understand Kensington really, really well at the helm of the county council. Second, just to keep people updated, 10619 Connecticut Avenue, that's the crossroads of Kensington at Connecticut and Pliers Mill. If you've driven by it, you've noticed that they are grading and they've been digging out and drying out the dirt, and they're ready to pour footers. They are working with WSSC to get that final permit to be able to pour, but construction is progressing there. And, they're hoping to speed up here as they get through the holidays and trying to stay ahead of the weather as much as possible. But, we'll start to see that building take shape here during the first quarter of 2024. And then the biggest one for the council, to the mayor's acknowledgement, a number of municipalities within Montgomery County during the Thrive 2050 have been talking about different land use, the impacts, the language of Thrive. And one thing that has come out is that with the change in Thrive, there is the potential for an ambiguity that has come up, because the R60 zones, which historically have always been single family, will, the belief is that as ZTAs come out, they will permit, they being the county council, will permit multi-unit housing to be built within the R60 zone. That's a big part of Thrive. Well, state law grants municipalities in Montgomery County the right to impose regulations on the residential area. That's setbacks, height restrictions, and we in the town have leveraged that to have a stricter, meaning larger setback requirement than the unincorporated part. The issue becomes that power that is granted to municipalities uses the specific term single family residential, because the zone had always been single family residential. And so a number of the municipalities are getting together and looking to put together letters to request at the state level that the state code be changed to make a technical amendment to change any reference to single family residential to be multifamily residential.
I think it's just residential, isn't it?
Or just residential,
Just
right?
residential.
And so, as it happens, one of our delegates, Jared Solomon, is kind of taking the lead on this. And so District 18 is well aware of this. But the ask is across all levels of municipalities who want to make sure that there isn't this ambiguity, and that we retain the ability to impose regulations within the residential areas of our municipalities, that we send letters of support for this technical amendment. So I've put that to the mayor and to the town manager and asked that I'm happy to take the lead, that we help draft a letter in support of this technical amendment. There's one that has been circulated amongst some of the municipalities in Montgomery County just to get all the technical language together. But we would base it on some other realities within Kensington, and then put that together over the next couple of days and circulate it around, and then send it up to our delegation prior to the beginning of the legislative session.
Yeah, I mean, I think simply that, right now a single family residential home has a 10-foot setback. You don't want a duplex coming in and then being able to do a 8-foot by the county. So they should be under the same sort of more vigorous setback that we have than, as a duplex versus a single family home. So that's all we're asking for. So, and I believe we have a meeting with the other municipalities on the 18th. Is that correct?
Correct. So there's a meeting set up on Monday, the 18th at 4 p.m. And that is actually a discussion with Council President Andrew Friedson, and Vice President Kate Stewart, and Delegate Jared Solomon. Part of that is to just go through the technical amendment with the county council so that they understand why we're asking for this, that they realize that we are not asking to gain some sort of power that we didn't have before. Since they're updating how the residential zones can be used, we just want the language of that state code to flow with it.
And this is going to be a local bill, not a statewide bill. So it would only be Montgomery County. Okay. Does the council have any questions? I think you all have been somewhat in the loop on it, so are aware of it. Anyone in the audience have a question? Okay. Connor, oh, Joe, can you unmute Joe? Go ahead, Joe.
Connor, could you just simplify in a few sentences what that might mean for Kensington?
Sure.
Thanks.
To use what the mayor just said, right now, if you want to build a home on a residential lot in Kensington, we have more restrictive setback requirements than the county. We're permitted to do that by this state code. And anybody who builds a home within Kensington has to abide by the same setback requirements, same height requirements, those things that conform to how you use your land. The concern is that if they do a zoning text amendment that allows for multi-unit housing, that isn't single family, which is the term used in state code right now. And so would that mean that if somebody built a duplex, they are no longer bound by these land use regulations? And we don't believe that's the intent. We don't believe that is the spirit of it. And so since they're looking to change the zoning, we're just asking that they make a technical amendment that just changes any reference to single family residential to just say residential. It doesn't matter how many units. It's just if you want to build a structure on a lot, you have to abide by the setback and land restrictions that are in place within that municipality.
So it just essentially
Yep.
conforms to what is already on the books then.
Yep, correct.
Anything else? Any other questions? Connor, were you done?
I am done. Thank you.
Nate, did you have something else to? I lost Nate. Where did Nate go?
I think we all lost Nate.
Okay, Nate may have something else, so be on the lookout for Nate coming back in. I don't know what the heck's going on with Zoom today. It's very strange.
Uh-oh, Anne's got all the power now.
Uh-oh, now she's the co-host.
So,
All right, very weird. I don't have a lot to report. I've been to lots of meetings, lots of events. December is the busiest time of year, but I have to say I'm so happy that for every event we had, it managed to stop raining, or it looked like it was going to rain, but it held off. I mean, it was great. And I have to say, I was so pleased with our turnout of the menorah lighting. We had just an enormous amount of people. And it was a great community event. And I want to thank Anne and her organizers for putting together such a great event. And we need to get more donuts next year because there wasn't enough. But no, it was a great event, and very happy that the community came out to support it.
a good problem to have if you run out of donuts, because
It is a good problem. Yeah, it is a good problem to have. And but yeah, every event we've had has been well attended. We do have one more town event coming up next week on the 21st, and that's the caroling in the park. While we're waiting on Nate, I did check out the wood at the Public Works building this afternoon. They have plenty, so in good shape, dry. So make sure it gets over to the park, Flynn Park, on the 21st. Has somebody checked on Nate? Do you think he's okay?
I will text him real quick.
I text him. I assume he knows he's not on anymore.
Nate is coming. The internet at his home crashed, so he is moving over to mobile phone. So just
Okay.
look for him to come in just a second.
Okay. Gonna have to get Albert to cut out this dead space. People are gonna wonder what the heck were they doing? There he is. Hey, Nate. Uh-oh. Can you let him speak?
I'm really sorry. My internet just crashed. And
Oh,
it just
no.
shut everything down. So sorry about that. I was
That's
scrambling.
okay. It was like you were there and then all of a sudden you were gone.
Yeah, I apologize.
Well, these things happen. So did you have something else to add? You had your hand up, so I wasn't sure if you
I
wanted-
did. No, I was going like that because it was on the issues that Darren was talking about. And I just wanted to see if we should follow up with Delegate Solomon to the promise that SHA made about the rapid flashing beacon by the end of December on Wheatley.
I think that would be
So-
great. I was skeptical at the time that it was going to happen. So do you have an update?
I do. I have an update. So we spoke with Derek Gunn, who's our district engineer. The notice to proceed will be issued in February. So the earliest it would happen is early February. The notice to proceed will go in February. And that's all they would provide us. So,
And was there any update too on the landscaping in the middle of Connecticut Avenue that they said they were going to replace?
Unfortunately, Derek has to get back to us on every topic. I mean, as mayor, he's overseeing Montgomery and Prince George's County. We lost Joseph, so he's kind of catching up on all of our issues, and he's just going to kind of respond as he can on each issue. But the rapid flashing beacon is expected to be installed in February. So,
Okay, thank you.
Only because you know how I feel about this rapid flashing beacon. And I'm happy to do it, like not put it on somebody else's plate. But if we can, quite honestly, hound them, I've got, I don't know what the impact to the state's transportation budget, right? I know these are small things, they're already approved, but these are the kind of things that I could see them just punting down the line because they are just the crumbs off the table. Compared to what we're reading about is just going to be a decimated transportation budget. If we can just get these things done before people leave or they forget about it.
and that's what we talked to Derek about. Joe's replacement will be at some point in January. They'll be appointed in some point in January. We have asked Derek to have a meeting with the new assistant district engineer for our district, along with Joseph Mogues, so we can kind of get on the same page with everything. I will give a quick update. We did get the 30% design, the preliminary 30% design for the sidewalk improvement project along Connecticut Avenue. Alex and I did meet with Russell last week on the project. It is in the area-wide contract, which will be issued by the state in spring 2024. They need to make a couple amendments to the existing design. He did not think the 8% cuts were going to affect the project, though.
Can you be more specific on where that Connecticut Avenue improvement is?
It is essentially from Warner Street, both north and southbound, between Warner Street and Washington Street. There's a number of locations where there's going to be some sidewalk improvements, specifically in front of, if Steve Cohen and where he lives. That is the biggest issue because there's a significant drop off from the sidewalk. They're going to put a back curb, 6-inch back curb on it, along with a decorative railing. There's one other location a little further up Connecticut, just prior to Warner Street on northbound. And then there's a couple trees that need to be removed. They're going to redo a couple of the detectable warning mats, and they're going to outline the crosswalks between a number of the streets. So that is in an area-wide contract for 2024.
Okay, thank you. I know I spoke to Steve at the Kensington Historical Society event on Sunday, and he seemed quite pleased with it, so which is good. I mean, he's been, I think he said 20 years, something like that. He's been it's been a long time. Anyway, okay. Thank you. Nate, anything else? You good?
No, thanks.
Okay. All right. So Matt, from the town manager and staff, anything?
So no real updates. January, we're going to have a number of updates for the mayor and council and the public with regards to a couple of engineering projects. The bridge engineering project, we should have an update for everyone, along with the subcontractor did the CCTV evaluation of the 2 locations within the C line storm drain network. So we'll have an update on that. And I hope to have some updates for the public with regards to some of the agenda items that were in the closed session that you saw this evening.
Okay. And the leafing is going well, and
Leafing is going well. We'd just like to remind residents to please not park in front of their piles of leaves. And remind everyone, please, no sticks or dirt or debris in the leaf piles. The crew will be wrapping that up this week. And we were thankful that we didn't receive enough snow that we had to put the plows on the trucks on Monday. So
yeah, it did make the leaves a lot heavier and much more difficult to pick up. But the guys have been doing a great job. I think leafing is probably one of the hardest things they have to do. It is huge amount of manpower in getting those leaves picked up. And I think we're at least at 83 truckloads. We were 90 last year, and we'll probably match that this year. So anyway, but they're doing, the crew is just doing a really, really good job.
I will mention real quick, we are going to start switching out the benches on Howard Avenue right after the holidays. So there'll be new benches. There is one bench. There was a demo bench that was located on Fawcett Street in front of Girls Who Paint. So that is our new bench that will be switched out for Howard Avenue.
Mm-hmm. And are they going to go all the way down, or how many did we get?
Well, we only bought 5 right now. But we do plan to go the whole way down Howard with the exception of one bench, the one closest to Modern Mobler. We're not going to replace that bench because there's some access issues. There's just not enough room to pass through there.
Very
Other
narrow
than that,
there.
yeah. So
okay, that's good. All right. Any questions for Matt? Okay, so let's move on to ordinance, resolutions, and regulations. Matt, number 1.
Council Resolution R-23-2023 is a resolution of the Mayor and Town Council of Kensington approving a variance to allow a 6-foot entry gate within the front plane of the southwest corner of the property located at 3419 DuPont Avenue in accordance with Section 5-109 fences, walls, and retaining walls of the Town Code. The council had a variance request from Margie Stansel at our November meeting. This is the resolution to approve the 6-foot gate within the front plane with respect to public safety. There is a drop off between Mrs. Rogers' property and the property located at 10701 St. Paul. And this will address that concern.
Okay. Council, I think we were all in agreement that the variance is warranted. But does anybody have any further questions for Matt? Anybody in the audience have a question? Okay, if I can entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution number R-23-2023, a variance for 3419 DuPont Avenue.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Number 2.
Thank you, Council. Resolution number R-24-2023 is a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the Town of Kensington authorizing a contract with Bartlett Tree Experts for soil care fertilization and tree pest management for certain trees within town parks and the public right-of-way. This is actually a contract that we've had for about 12 years with Bartlett. The only difference is that it has never exceeded $10,000. So we've always been able to handle this internally. With costs going up and planting more trees, we have a larger scope with Bartlett. And the contract proposal rate is for $14,440. You will notice the one set of trees that we are not technically required to maintain are the oak trees in the median of Connecticut Avenue. Staff made an internal decision a number of years ago to include this because the state would not use any fertilization on them. It is a gateway into the community. They do have value. We didn't want to lose them, so we've been having Bartlett maintain those trees as well. But everything else is within our right of way or the town parks.
And I think we had lost a couple of the trees in the right of way when we stopped doing the fertilization.
We have, and a couple of the trees are actually in Chevy Chase View, and we do get reimbursed by their town manager for a couple of the trees that we do pay for. So,
is there any questions for Matt regarding the contract? Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for giving that background, Matt. I was going to ask why I hadn't, in my experience on council, I hadn't seen this come up before. So I thought it was new. I didn't realize we had this existing contract for 12 years. So the price escalations, are they, from your perspective, was it number of trees or was it materials used went up in price?
It's a little bit of everything. We were slightly over 10,000 last year. Again, we've added some trees to this. Some older trees get reevaluated. We're asking for certain things. I mean, there's trees that have been added yearly. We had to add the Norway spruce in front of Town Hall a couple years ago. The contract actually got started about 12 years ago. We had a large removal on DuPont Avenue of the old silver maples following the derecho. The trees that were planted to replace it from a supplier that we no longer use, everyone had scale. So we reached out to Bartlett to come in, and it grew from there. They started evaluating other trees and other streets and parks, and it's just kind of grown through the years. And like I said, we've never been this high, and that's why the council hasn't seen it before. But most of it is just cost increases, labor, materials, and fertilization. So
thanks. And then the other question real quick, Matt, is I noticed I couldn't help have my brain go this way when I saw the disclaimer at the end about the pesticides and disclosing that on their website. Are we sure that this is in compliance with our newly adopted pesticide ordinance?
They should be. They are Montgomery County based business out of Gaithersburg. So they would need to comply with all DEP regulations within Montgomery County. So
I figured as much. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. And the gentleman who is our representative, Josh, he has been with us this entire time of 12 years. He originally worked for the University of Maryland through their department. So he's very well versed with our community and the towns.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. I'm done.
Yep. Any other questions?
Just one question. I was curious, looking at the way that the proposal is presented, did they scan the entire town for streets in the right of way and the parks, or were you having them prioritize certain locations? How did they come up with this particular list?
So like the list has grown considerably since we first started this. So we'll identify some problems. A lot of times a resident might just call us and they might have concern about their tree. So we'll previously we would have David Gregg look at it, and then if he wasn't comfortable with the tree, then we'd have Josh with Bartlett look at it, and now Ed Mulheron can look at it. But that's where a lot of the requests come from. Residents are concerned about the tree. Or we'll notice things. Josh does do a general scan of our parks yearly to put together the scope of work. That's how we found out we had issues with the Norway spruce in front of Town Hall, and the issues with the oak trees on the median. It's something that we had never looked at before because we didn't have maintenance responsibility for them. He wasn't aware that, that was a state right away as compared to the town. So he's doing a general scan. So
Then, Matt, based on how you described his process, do we, cutting to the chase, I see no trees from Joseph Park on the inventory or on the scope of work. Is that he looked and they're good, or did he miss Joseph Park being ours?
we've had Joseph Park on the list before.
Okay.
It is not on the list this year. I can certainly have him go back and look at it. So,
I mean, there's not a particular tree that I'm, curious of. The fact that all other parks seem to be mentioned, but that I just wanted to make sure it wasn't an oversight.
we can have him go back and look. We have had Joseph Parks on the list before.
Anybody else? Any questions from the audience? Joe?
Yeah, Matt, it seems like an awful lot of trees are being targeted for treatment of one kind or another. Are there so many trees in Kensington that are at risk or at in some danger? I mean, that's the preventive nature of these treatments, and it seems like there's an awful lot that's being included in this inventory.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an arborist. Obviously we have a lot of trees in our town. Um, uh, with the planting that we're scheduling later this month, we will have planted, I believe, 125 trees in the last 3 years. Those aren't even mature trees. As trees mature, they're more receptive to any kind of growth, bacterial growth, scale, anything like that. And then there's, natural issues. There's a reason why we have very few ash trees left in the town. Um, again, I'm not an arborist. I would defer to Josh. If you have a specific question, I'd be happy to ask him. But we are a tree city. It just gives us more trees to evaluate and take care of. So
Yeah, when we do our full tree inventory, it may take us a few years, but if we are able to proceed with University of Maryland, we'll have better estimates on our tree canopy and can see this as a percentage of that. But I will just piggyback on what Matt is saying about the value of more mature trees. I mean, not only depending on the species, are they providing more shade, which is useful for the heat we're dealing with, but obviously the water absorption that we are dealing with the intense storms. And larger trees are able to help more with carbon. So I think we have lots of incentives for maintaining the tree canopy that we invest in and making sure that they're able to stay alive.
Yeah, no one's doubting the value of trees and the variety of trees in town. I believe some arborists would say that you treat them when problems are beginning to appear rather than in a preventive way. Again, I don't know. It's a different theory, and Bartlett is pretty aggressive in calling attention to root rot and things like that. I mean, this is something that individual town or homeowners have encountered with them over the years. The other question for you, Matt, is why was this not sent out for bid, given the cost escalation that's involved here from a little more than $10,000 to $14,000? That's a pretty hefty increase, and Bartlett is not the only tree company in the county or in the area. So I think that we might have done well to send this out to bid.
yeah, I mean, it's I mean, they've been with us for many years. They're well aware of the town. They're well aware of the aspects. It's up to the council. There's a reason why it needs to be approved with an extra majority vote. It's less than $30,000, so staff has the right to negotiate a service contract with the provider, and it's up to the council to give us the approval or not this evening.
there are a lot of tree companies. Some of them are fly-by-nights probably, and some are more established, but it would be interesting to see what other companies would propose in terms of preventive care in town.
Okay, thank you. Alex, just out of curiosity, for one of a large tree, what does it cost to take it down?
It depends. For the one by the church, last year that was struck by lightning, it was almost 10 grand. But I would say probably like an average of 5 or 6.
Okay.
Smaller ones are sometimes really cheap, less than 1,000. But
Yeah,
the
well,
larger ones can be.
There was one that died on Armory Avenue, and the guy just pulled it right out.
I mean, beyond just
and that,
taking it down, I mean, the 2 silver maples on my property, just to have them trimmed this year by another company that happens to be in the town, was over 2 grand. Just to have them maintained and the deadwood taken out so that it, if a derecho were to happen, I don't have limbs flying all over the place.
Right.
yeah, and there's stump removals too. I mean, in order for us to replant a tree, even off center of an existing tree, I mean, our stump removals, Alex will tell you, they're anywhere between $400 and $700, depending on the size of the stump. We don't plant anything below 2-inch in caliper. It's pretty rare that we purchase a tree less than $450. It's usually a little bit more than that. So $15,000 is a pretty good investment considering our tree budget of $120,000 and to maintain our tree status.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have no more questions. If someone would like to make a motion.
Sure. I move that we adopt resolution R-24-2023, authorizing a contract with Bartlett Tree Experts for soil care, fertilization, and tree pest management for trees within the town parks and public right-of-ways, to include the medians of Connecticut Avenue.
Yeah, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we've come to the time in our agenda for public appearances, opportunity to bring up any issue that's not already on the agenda. Okay, anybody? Joe?
Thank you. I would agree that the town leaf pickup has been very well conducted this year, and I don't know how many years they have pursued this sort of as needed pickup, and it's worked out very well the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, and this year has been no exception. And some of these guys, it's not easy work, obviously, and they do a really nice job, the town crew. And I'm glad to see that they've, at least through the south side of town here, they've been through here 3 or 4 times, and that's very welcome.
Yeah, I think they do a good job. If you forget about Saturday and Sunday, I don't think most people have their leaves out there more than 2 days, maybe 3 at the most. They really get around pretty quickly. So, and it's pretty much a 5-day a week that they're out there picking up leaves.
So if hypothetically, perhaps if the leaves are out there for more than a couple of days, they should do what? People should do what? Call town hall?
Oh, I don't think they need to do that. I'm just saying they're averaging about every 2 to 3 days, you'll have your leaf pickup. I mean, if they're out there for more than a week, yeah, I would say you should call. But I think by not doing it in, west side on this time and south side on this time and north side on this time, they're just going around and doing the entire town every day. They're checking and going around and scouting out for where the piles are, and that's where they go.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I think it's worked out well.
Yeah, it's a much better than doing what we tried a couple of years. I think when Sanford was here, we tried doing it in areas, and that just didn't work very well.
The other comment I'd like to make is to renew a suggestion made some time ago about moving this portion of the agenda, the public appearances, up higher on the agenda, perhaps to right after town manager and staff. That way people don't have to wait through very lengthy meetings, which do happen sometimes, to be able to have an opportunity to speak to their elected representatives at the most local level. I think it would not be a major disruption to the town agenda, to the town council agenda, but I think it would be send a signal that the town council and the mayor are interested in hearing from townspeople, and give it some priority rather than appearing right before the adjournment.
Well, I think resolutions and ordinances are very important too, and
Nobody says they're not, but
Okay.
If these are important to hear from the townspeople, then I think moving it up on the agenda would not be a bad idea, and perhaps the council would consider an experiment for one meeting or another to have that portion of the meeting a little more prominent.
Okay, duly noted. I don't know about the rest of the council, though, that I think we do hear from constituents every day. The ones that don't come to a town meetings, they make sure they reach out to us. Okay, anything else? All right. Want to wish everybody a happy holiday. If you're still in town on the 21st, please stop by Flint Park for the fire pits and community get together. And otherwise, I think Baby Cat's got an ugly sweater event coming up too. If you have an ugly sweater, be sure to do that as well. I will accept a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll see you either around town or next year.